even as we're looking at, how diplomatically on the global stage India is being looked at, the Prime Minister said in the Parliament as well that people today want to become friends with India. Vishwamitra is the role that India has to play today. लोग हम में मित्रता ढूंढ रहे हैं, लोग हमसे दोस्ती करना चाह रहे हैं. But the India-Canada ties, it seems, are going towards an all-time low. This over the Sikh separatist leader, various Khalistani supporters, and people who have been supporting anti-India elements on foreign soil as well. Now the Canadian government came out and said, well, that government officials of India, they have their hand in the killings of Hardeep Singh Nijjar and several other Sikh separatist leaders. Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was the leader of the Khalistan Tiger Force, he was killed in Surrey in Canada. Now, lots of factors at play over here as well. Trudeau claims, I'll just read the headlines first, and there's a reaction coming across from the Canadian Prime Minister. We'll play that out as well, and then we'll talk about various factors. Trudeau claims Indian government linked to Khalistan leaders killing. Delhi says that it is absolutely absurd what you're saying. Yesterday, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, he took to the microblogging website X, formerly known Twitter, and said that Trudeau is the biggest joker. Wait, hold on. You know what? I don't want to put words in Abhishek Manu Singhvi's mouth. But there were several names that were called. When the Canadian Prime Minister was being talked about. India-Canada ties hit a new low. Expel diplomats in tit-for-tat action. दोनों ने एक दूसरे के top diplomats को expel कर दिया है. Meanwhile, Canada's evidence and its Five Eyes alliance frame India's challenge. Given trade and diaspora, bid to insulate strained bilateral ties from the impact. Already there is some damage control that's happening. Now the Indian Express has given out a detailed coverage. I'm going to peruse through the pages. What is it that you have on your newspaper?
Well, I was reading about this Canada story, and they have a proper detailed coverage on who was Hardeep Singh Nijjar, why the Sikhs are so powerful in Canada right now, and what is the NIA's action on the pro-Khalistani movement that has been going on in Canada for so long. And the more you read about the story, the more your bloods get boiled, because I have so many questions to ask to the Canada Prime Minister that let's talk about facts here. We have
it says here from Canada's stand on the farmers' stir, the farmers' protest. You remember how Canada had postured itself to the farm stir to protest by pro-Khalistan groups, the deepening rift. And you're right, the Nijjar saga. July 2022, India announces cash reward for information leading to arrest of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the head of Khalistan Tiger Force, accuses him of involvement in an alleged attack on a Hindu priest in India. In June 18, in 2023, Nijjar is fatally shot in the parking lot of a Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara in Surrey, British Columbia. He was also the president of the Gurudwara Committee. On June 19 this year, his close associate reveals that Nijjar had received warnings from Canadian intelligence officials. Gurpatwant Singh Pannun, his lawyer and the chief of the band Sikhs for Justice, claims that CSIS had warned Nijjar about threats to his life.
And I mean, US is also deeply concerned that, of the allegations. They are also asking India to, cooperate with the Canadian agencies and, so in the investigation
That's the top
process.
diplomat that we've expelled, Nancy. The Indian top diplomat.
And I think as we should be, because India, is not going to let this slide, because this is something, that is a huge allegation you're putting out, and how Khalistani has been a sensitive issue. And I think India was, they hit back exactly like they should have. And they gave him 5 days to just leave the country, because if you can expel our top Indian diplomat, why can't we? So I think that was the correct answer that India gave to Canada.
But there is a deepening rift that we have to be careful about, Nancy, as well. Because take a look at this. The SGPC has said matter affects all Sikhs. This being reported from Amritsar. Amid souring diplomatic relations between India and Canada over the killing of a Khalistan leader in June, Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee Chief Harjinder Singh Dhami on Tuesday said the matter is very serious. In the murder case of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada, the expelling of a diplomatic officer of India by the Canadian government after allegations were levelled against him raises many questions. Even though India rejected the allegations and expelled a Canadian diplomatic officer, this matter is very serious and directly related to Sikhs, which will affect the community members at a global level for sure. The BJP and the Congress party have slammed Justin Trudeau. Meanwhile, the Akalis, a big party in Punjab, want the Prime Minister to show all facts.
Yeah.
This is what we're picking up. Now, on the 21st of June, let me take you through a timeline. On the 21st of June, police initiate a search for 2 suspects who fled the scene on foot, later meeting a getaway vehicle in a nearby park. On June 24th this year, demonstrators gather outside Vancouver's Indian consulate chanting slogans for Khalistan. June 25th, Nijjar's funeral is held at a Gurudwara. On the 4th of July, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly expresses concern about safety of Indian diplomats in Canada after protest posters circulating in the community accused them of being linked to Nijjar's death. On the 16th of August, homicide investigators announced search for a 3rd suspect in the case, believed to have been a driver of a getaway car. On the September 10th this year, Trudeau in Delhi to attend the G20 summit says he underlined importance of respecting rule of law and democratic principles. Delhi says they raised the issue of growing extremism in Canada. 15th of September, Canada indefinitely postpones the trade mission to India, slated for October. September 18th, Trudeau addresses the House of Commons, says allegations about Indian involvement in Nijjar's killing are credible. Joly announces decision to expel 1 diplomat. On the 19th of September, which is yesterday, India rejects as absurd and motivated Trudeau's allegations and in a tit-for-tat move expels a senior Canadian diplomat. Well, let's quickly listen in to what Justin Trudeau, in his latest reaction to the press had to say.
As I've said, India, the government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper. One of the things that is so important today is that India and the government of India takes seriously this matter. It is extremely serious, and it has far-reaching consequences in international law and otherwise. For Canada, as I said yesterday, we're going to remain calm. We're going to remain grounded in our democratic principles and values. We're going to follow the evidence and make sure that the work is done to hold. Over the course of the summer, we have been working closely with our intelligence agencies who are moving forward in their analysis. We wanted to make sure that we had solid grounding in understanding what was going on in analysis and indeed in facts. We wanted to make sure we were taking the time to talk with our allies, to share what we knew. We wanted to make sure that we fully shared with the government of India the seriousness and the depths of our preoccupations and indeed conclusions. But Canadians have a right to know and need to know when things are going on like this, and that's why we made the decision to do this.
Well, it seems like after all those tit-for-tat actions, and I don't want to cast any aspersions, it does seem like Justin Trudeau has, leveled down, how he spoke in the Parliament against the Indian government officials and how he's speaking right now. But again, I'm just speculating. Meanwhile, it's also important to take a look at how the community is also looking at this news, from senior journalists to authors in Canada. Take a look at their reactions, Nancy. Their perspective is also going to help us understand how that side of the fence is dealing with the situation.
Problem is that for the Canadians, there has been a persistent but unconfirmable rumor, a story, if you like, within the Khalistani community in Canada, which, as you know, is large and very active, that this was not some local gangland killing as it first appeared, but rather that it was a state-sponsored assassination by the Indian government. Now, they were not able to produce any evidence of this, which didn't stop them making the accusation loudly and often. They prepared, as you probably know, posters which they put up at parades and demonstrations at Indian missions in Canada, the consulate in Toronto, in Vancouver, and the High Commission in Ottawa. These posters describing Indian diplomats as killers, and I quote, and basically painting targets on the backs of these diplomats. None of this rested on any evidence that we know of until today.
अभी स्टिल जो इसमें दो चीजें हैं इनको समझना पड़ेगा। एक तो है कि जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन है वो चल रही है, उसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जा रही है IHIT के द्वारा, जो जिसको कहते हैं इंटीग्रेटेड होमिसाइड इन्वेस्टिगेशन टीम। सरे में ये हत्या हुई थी। सरी जो है वो ब्रिटिश कोलंबिया का दूसरा पॉपुलेशन के जनसंख्या के लिहाज से सबसे बड़ा शहर है, और जियोग्राफिकली भौगोलिक स्थिति से अगर देखा जाए तो ब्रिटिश कोलंबिया जो प्रांत है उसका सबसे बड़ा शहर है। तो उसके अंदर जहां पर सबसे ज्यादा इंडो कैनेडियन और खासतौर से पंजाबी मूल के लोग रहते हैं, वहां पर इस हत्या का होना वाकई दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण था। लेकिन कुछ अज्ञात लोगों द्वारा गोलियां मारी गई थी हरदीप सिंह निज्जर को, और उनकी हत्या की गई थी। तो इस मामले में 18 जून से लेकर अब तक इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है वो चल रही है।
Well, so we'll have to see where this deepening rift is leading. At the moment, the ties between the two nations, who are in terms of defense ties and in terms of trade ties, real good partners.
Yeah.
At the same time, just to give you some sort of a figure, you've got some 1.4 million Indians in Canada, out of which 0.7 lakh are Sikhs.
There are
from the
18
community.
MPs in the Canadian Parliament who are Sikh. So, we can understand why the influence of, Sikh community and the way Justin Trudeau is just trying to protect them. But my question is that, Khalistan is just not a threat to India. It has been a global threat. We are forgetting, Kanishka air bombing that happened in 1985. It was one of the, largest aviation disaster that, the world has witnessed.
Right.
And, these are under Khalistani movement. So, we are not, you are blaming and you are picturing India as somebody who is trying to, who killed a very important leader, who killed somebody who is very important. First of all, there is no evidence that India is linked to the death of, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. But even if it wasn't, it's just not a citizen that we're talking about. We're talking about a Khalistani terrorist who have been, promoting, who has been inciting anti-India violence in the country, in Canada as well. So my question to Canada would be, what if some other day, there is an ISIS agent who has been, threatening USA and he was doing, doing anti-USA thing, but he's a citizen of Canada. So is Justin Trudeau going to protect him as well and going to, the one moment they say that we are not trying to provoke them, we are not trying to provoke India, and the other moment you have this, they have you update your advisory to travel to India that don't go to these places until and unless it's emergency because there is threat of terrorism or terror activities. So it is provoking. How can you say that you are not provoking the country? So I think,
Well, you're absolutely right, but it's again early doors. We'll have to wait and find out as to how these two ministries are going to now get in touch with each other. There's going to be dialogue, deliberation, and let's hope that this does not get any more ugly than it already has.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't simply come out pointing fingers at each other. There's a way of putting your argument across as well.